Hello and welcome. Happy Friday night. I am so glad that you could join me. Welcome to my Zen Den. My name is Mandy VanHavermaet and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up from Grey Eagle, Minnesota. And I am so excited to be stamping with you tonight. We're going to be doing some simple stamping tonight. No dies. One punch because I couldn't resist myself, but a couple of the cards are literally paper and ink. That's it. And we're making 3 cards tonight. 2 of the cards are paper and ink. 1, I put a little bit of linen thread on and a punch. Otherwise, everything with this stamp set, you could make such beautiful cards with just paper and ink. So let me introduce you to the stamp set. It is called Soft Seedlings. It's on page 53 of the catalog, the small July to December mini catalog. It's one of those stamp sets, excuse me, it's one of those stamp sets that kind of gets overlooked, I think, but it is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stamp set. So I am going to flip the camera around and we're going to get stamping. Hold on just one second. All right. So, and sometimes I'm telling you, they're so sneaky. And when I say they, I don't know who they are, but they're sneaky because they put these beautiful stamp sets and you don't notice them right away. And this is the Soft Seedlings stamp set right here. And it blends in. It doesn't look like, it seems kind of like innocent sitting there, but it makes such stunning cards. I am so excited to show you some of these cards tonight. The stamp set is a red rubber stamp set. It's also what they call, it's got this little graphic down here. It's called distinctive, which means, and this one here, the painted pheasant, is also distinctive. It's got a lot of depth and kind of shading in it. It's really a beautiful, beautiful stamp set. And so I'm going to show you a trick also if you're having troubles with your distinctive stamps on how to make them stamp beautifully. So let's get stamping. The first card I'm going to do, we're going to need a little piece of background paper because I'm going to be stamping over. I'm going to be using a couple of the craft notebook or note cards. Remember, these craft note cards come in, I think, about a box of 20 or 25. They make 3.5 by 5 note cards, and they come with envelopes. It really is a good value. And you can make a lot more cards with a smaller image, right? So we're going to use 2 of those craft card bases. I've got 1 piece of 4.5 by 6 very vanilla, and I've got 2 pieces of 3.25 by 4.25 Cajun Craze. So I'm going to set those just aside for right now. I'm going to focus on this piece right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a very, 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 very light score line down the center at 3 inches. You could draw a line if you wanted to do that. When I say light, I mean you can't hardly see that score line. I just want an indicator as to where the center is, because what I'm going to do is make basically a piece of designer series paper. So I've got crushed curry, Cajun Craze, and soft suede inks. Beautiful fall colored inks, right? So I've got my nice big stamp here, the nice big maple leaf. And I know this is a maple leaf. Yay. And I'm also going to be using the little maple seed also. So let's open up our inks. I have got a cat under my feet, my big orange cat. He's so nosy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to stamp off a little bit first just to make sure that my ink isn't too thick. So I'm going to stamp right there. And if you seems like, isn't that a beautiful stamp? If it seems like you've got just a little bit too thick of ink, what you can do is take just a regular spoon. I have spoons on my desk, and I just mush that ink down into the ink pad. And that's going to make it so that you can't ink up and get too much ink inside of your stamp. Ooh, that was close. So, and you can just wash this off with your chamois. Literally keep this spoon in my crafting stuff. So I'll stamp it up or ink it up again and check it out. And it helped to kind of, okay, so it makes it so it's not so gloppy. So let's go ahead. And I've got my center line there. And what I'm going to do is I'm making kind of a frame. Oh, so pretty. I love this stamp. It is like just hidden in there. I'm going to just stamp some red leaves. And like I said, I'm making basically some designer series paper. So pretty. Oh, I love that stamp. And just so you know, this is also the stamp set. If you're local to me here, I will be having a card class. I'm teaming up with the Melrose Community Education in Melrose, Minnesota here. And I am offering a card class with them. And when you leave, you will leave with this stamp set. And some great ideas and some cards. It's going to be so much fun. So sign up if you are local. It's going to be great. All right, so let's keep stamping. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, so pretty. I'm going to kind of turn it around because what I'm doing is leaving like a corner open on each one. So just like that. Oh, so fun. Okay, and now I'm going to take my soft suede and I'm just going to put some seeds in there because they're pretty. I'll add just a little bit more color. Where do I want it? Where can I put this? My cat just answered me. He said, right there. I said, okay. Awesome, awesome. I think I might just put another one because my halfway point is right in there. So I think I'm going to put one right there. Oh, I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my trimmer back in. And I'm going to cut that in half at 3 inches. So now I've got 2 pieces of designer series paper, 2 panels, just like that. You could have stamped them individually, but I liked doing it this way. I thought it was kind of fun. And I've actually seen it where they've done 4. So they make like a cross and they do it through the center. So while I've got my soft suede out here, I'm going to stamp directly on there. I'm going to use the Thinking of You, and this font is fantastic. Isn't that just the coolest font in the world? I love it. And I'm going to do this one here in the soft suede. Just hello. So pretty. So pretty. Simple stamping, right? So let's just assemble our cards. Let's close our ink pads first, because you know and I know that I'm going to drop one of these cards inside of the ink pad. That's just what I do. Okay, and let's move our stamps out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to fold the crumb cake card bases. And if you're wondering, this is the minimum size for mailing in the United States. 3.5 by 5. Anything smaller you cannot put into the mail. So these are the perfect size for a small note card and to put in the mail. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my very vanilla panel. Oh, so pretty. It's a little crooked. Oh, it's a little crooked. That's okay. It's a hand stamped card and it can be crooked. It was made with love out of adhesive. I knew that was going to happen. So I had one waiting. Love my snail, or not my snail, my Seal Plus. They used to be snail. Love my Seal Plus. Seal and Seal Plus. They're great. I love that they're interchangeable too. They're the same size. Oh, isn't that just the most beautiful thing in the world? And it's simple. Nothing else. Ink and paper. That's it. It's fantastic. All right. Put the last one together. And I did it straight. Yay me. And there we go. 2 cards. It would be so, oh, I just love them. And you could totally put in more embellishments on those. You could make them more, but I like them just like that. I think they're so cute. So simple. Awesome. Okay, so those are cards number 1 and 2. Let's go on to, and so there's the dimensions for those. Let's go on to the next card, which I'm going to use the Cajun Craze and the Crushed Curry ink again. But I'm going to take the soft suede out and I'm going to replace it with Blackberry Bliss. So let's go through our supplies here. I have got a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4. I have got a piece of crumb cake. That's just a basic panel, 4 by 5 1/4. I've got a piece of basic white. That is 3.5 by 3.5. A piece of early espresso, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then this is for the inside of the Blackberry Bliss, so we have something to write on. I'm also going to be using a dauber, and I'm going to show you a trick on how to get that like kind of a multicolored look on our leaves. So we're going to open up our Cajun Craze and our Crushed Curry, and I'm going to bring my big leaf stamp back in. And I used it last with the Crushed Curry, so I'm going to ink that up with the Crushed Curry, and then I'm going to take my dauber, and I'm just going to put a little bit of Cajun Craze on there, and I'm going to put that right on the outside, or on the edges of the stamp, okay? So now, when I go to stamp it, it's going to be so pretty. Straight down, straight up, just like that. And so now that's going to change the look. It's kind of going to give it, it's yellow in the middle, kind of a reddish on the outside. The only thing is you really need to wash your stamp in between, because otherwise you're going to contaminate your ink pads up. So start with a light color, and then you can go right on top of it. So wash that all off, make sure it's dry. We're going to do it one more time. Stamp it up with or ink it up with the Crushed Curry. Come in, and this time I'm actually going to take the Cajun Craze and go in the center and down the stems just a little bit. I put that right in the middle. That's okay. I'm going to kind of just go like that. So pretty. I love this. I love it. I'm going to go one more time, and I'm going to put one right down there on the edge. You know what? I'm going to turn this over. I'm not a big fan of that being on top of each other. You're going to get double. Let's try it again. So I'm going to go on the outsides. And I'm just, there's no right or wrong here. This is all, it's all in your heart, right? So let's go not over to the edge or to the center quite so much. There, I like that better. Wash it off again. So we don't contaminate our ink pad, our Crushed Curry. Just a little bit So pretty. And I've seen where people take and do this on the Stamparatus also, where they put it on the Stamparatus, do it in one color, and then come back and put their second color on top. It's there, like, there's no right way. I've said that a million times, right? There's no right way, there's no wrong way to stamp. You can, however you feel you want to do it, right? So I'm just going to put a little bit of Cajun Craze on those. I'm only going to be putting the seeds on, because that's fun. How about something right there? My leaf was not stamped, so I'm going to just put a little bit right down there. So fun. All right, so I'm going to close up my Cajun Craze and my crushed curry, and now I am going to use the Label Me Fancy punch. I'm going to set this aside for just a minute. I'm going to use the Label Me Fancy punch, and before I layer my espresso, early espresso underneath here, I'm going to take a punch out of here. And I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to use that in just a minute. And I'm going to cover this up so you won't even know that there's a hole in it. Tricky, tricky, right? So let's do that with my adhesive right there. Center that on there. And so I'm going to fold my Blackberry Bliss, and I love the look of Blackberry Bliss in the fall. I think it's just that extra pop. So pretty. All right, and if you wanted to emboss this with an embossing folder or something like that, you totally could. I am just trying to do the simplest stamping I can do tonight, to show you some simple stamping techniques. So not everything has to be over the top, right? So I'm going to put that on just like that. Oh, that's so pretty. I love it with the purple, with the Blackberry Bliss. All right, put that on just like that. And now I've got a scrap of basic white, and I'm going to use my Blackberry Bliss ink, and I've got the stamp that says "So Grateful." Did I tell you how much I love these fonts? They are absolutely perfect. So pretty. I'm going to let that dry for just a second. My Blackberry Bliss tends to be a little on the wet side, so I don't want to smudge it. So we're going to put our piece on the inside here. Just like that, so we can write our little thank you note. And now I'm going to take my Label Me Fancy punch and punch out my sentiment, which fits in there perfectly. And now I'm going to take this piece of early espresso that we cut out earlier. I'm going to take my stimps and cut that in half. I love punches that I can layer with the same punch. I think it's the funnest trick in the world. It adds just the perfect amount of extra, and it's so simple. And I'm really not wasting any paper because like I showed you, it's out from behind in here. So we're not even really using any extra paper. It's just the extra effort of cutting out that, punching out that, that label. So love that little trick. All right. So just like that. So I am going to use some dimensionals. Oh no, first, but wait. First, I'm going to use a little bit of linen thread. because I wanted just a little bit of linen thread. And when you take the thread off the spool, it's kind of coiled up. Take your snips and just kind of break those fibers. And so then it straightens out, way easier to manipulate that way. And so I'm just going to tie a big bow. Doesn't have to be super fancy, just has to be a big bow. And this is going to go just about like that. So let's snip that off. And I'm going to put just a little piece of adhesive right there. And I'm putting this big bow just like that. It's nothing super spectacular, but it's going to add so much to this card. So now I'm going to put my dimensionals on the back. Just like this. And our bow doesn't have to sit perfectly because it is just going to be behind that. Let's move that down just a little bit. Oh dear. Oh dear. Things are happening. Okay, now let's move it down. And so I don't want it to look necessarily like a bow. I want it to just look like I put some string behind it. So just like that. Awesome. So we'll just snip the little ends just like that. And there is our string behind there. One more little touch because I just can't resist. I'm going to put on some of the rustic metallic adhesive back dots. They are just so perfect for fall. Love that. And so there is card number 2. And there, if you want to take a screenshot of that, there's the dimensions for that. So super simple, right? I am in love with this stamp set. And again, it's the Soft Seedlings stamp set. So there are the other 2 cards from tonight. So I'm going to flip the camera around. All right. Just a reminder, when I get going here, there we go. Just a reminder that World Card Making Day is tomorrow. So if you can't join us in person in Uppsala, you should have RSVP'd for that by last weekend. If you can't join us in person, you can absolutely join us online. Stampin' Up is going to have a big craft together. And it's free. So go ahead and sign up. Go to stampinup.com, sign up. It's free. It is going to be so much fun. If you don't have the stamp sets that they have, use the ideas that they have and craft along with us. It's going to be awesome. If you have any other questions, I would be so happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic weekend and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.